Hey folks, how you doing? This is Wayne S. Pierce with the American Liberty Radio Network. You can fund the network by going to my website, WayneSPierce.com. Check that out, folks. I mean, I've got all sorts of links there. Other things I do other than this. So, hey, just another great day for just another awesome day because, well, you know, you woke up. You did, didn't you? You stared at yourself in the mirror and thought, I'm awake. Or, my God, this again. But anyway, yeah. We do what we do, folks. We have the ability to take care of ourselves. All right. We do this. It does happen. It also happens that, well, to be honest, let's take a look at something, folks. If you've been following any of this presidential campaigns at all, you will see that there have been many things that these people have said. Okay? Now, I'm scrolling through American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook. The one thing I mentioned in a previous podcast was U.S. identified Paris attackers 6 months ago and predicted terror plots. So why didn't they stop it? Yeah. That's a good question, folks. Why didn't they stop it? Confirmed. Paris emergency crews held mass shooting drills on the same day as terror attacks. From judicialwatch.org, FBI has nearly 1,000 active ISIS probes inside of the U.S. Confirmed from truthinmedia.com by Joshua Cook. Confirmed secret Pentagon report reveals U.S. created ISIS as a tool in a proxy war against Assad. Ben Swans, Truth in Media. CNS News, Mark Levin says it is national suicide to admit Syrian refugees. Nothing compassionate about it. So there you go. WoundedAmericanWarrior.com exposed 23 jihad training camps are located inside America. Obama's FBI does nothing. Okay? So there you go on that one. Californians for population stabilization. The meme there on American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook says, in 2008, Tina Davila was murdered by an illegal alien while trying to protect her baby. Well, California is nothing more than a melting pot of illegal aliens anyway, so it doesn't really matter. California is done. California has no balls. They've been castrated politically by the Yahoo in Sacramento. So, I take my obligatory break, folks. So, be back in about a minute or so, a little bit, after that. So, AmericanLibertyRadio.com is the web address. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com is the email address. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. I shall be back right after this. Don't go away. There's more right here on the American Liberty Radio Network. What we see is not always the truth. Lies, deceit, cover-ups. This is the world we live in. This is not reality. This is distorted reality. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. This is the American Liberty Radio Network. Go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com and email us at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. When the coffee is done, sit down and have a cup and listen to the best independent music station on the web. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Tom Slick delivers all the independent hits and talks about new music from all of your favorite artists. Listen to Tom Slick on The Morning Brew, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, only on Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. For more information, go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com. The reality underneath the honesty. Listen to Brian Lang over at Live Truth Radio. Go to livetruthradio.com for more information. Broadcasting live from behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 8. This is the American Liberty Radio Network. Hey folks, how you doing? This is Wayne S. Pierce from the American Liberty Radio Network. Yes, it's another one of those days. Of course. Now, before the break, I mentioned a few things. And asked you about the presidential candidates. I don't see too many on the Democratic side, but I do see a whole lot of people on the Republican side giving you a line of bull that just ain't quitting. And the thing is that I don't think any one of them can really do anything, because, let me point something out to you, they're nothing but figureheads. That's all. Now, let me ask you this. From WishTV.com, this is coming directly from them, whoever they are. Radisson Hotel in Mali attacked, 170 hostages taken. Now, what are they going to do about, what are the presidential candidates going to do about stuff like that once they get into office? Well, when Congress ties their hands, they're not going to be able to do anything. When I say Congress tying their hands, it's going to be gridlock again. Well, I know people, let me go back a few years. I know people that don't like Reagan. They said he was the worst president, ever. Did they forget about Jimmy Carter? People don't know what they're talking about. They never have and they never will. Okay? People like me, and like others who see the truth and the facts and do the research and dig deep and go behind the scenes and yada, 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 we know what we're talking about. Why? Because we see the game plan right there. We see what's going on. We know what's going on. It's staring us in the face. But to those that are yelling and screaming and saying, you're nothing but a conspiracy theory and one of those right-wing nut jobs. You can't do anything without listening to Rush Limbaugh tell you. And listen up, jackass. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. You never have, and you never will. I've had people tell me that I just want people to agree with me. No, I want people to disagree with me. they don't have the information I have, nor when they look at it, do they use it to do their research to find the facts. They just grab crap out of their ass and go and find negative stuff contradictory to the truth and the facts that are out there, and they try to tell me that, hey, this is the truth, not what you have. Really? This is how it works, folks. This is how it works. So when you look at the Democratic and Republican candidates for president, remember one thing. They're figureheads. They're puppets. The only two people on the Republican side that really, I believe, and I could be wrong in this, the only two people that I believe have really any integrity whatsoever that would really blow the lid off of that whole system in Washington, D.C. is Ben Carson and Donald Trump. But I don't back them. I don't support them. But I've heard what they had to say. But saying one thing and finally getting into office and doing what you say is two different things. So the fact of the matter is nobody knows what the hell they're doing. And this whole system is going to break down by at least 2020. And it's going to fall apart. You know why this country was great for quite some time, actually, before 1871? You know why this country was great? Was because of its people. Because you and I, our grandfathers or whatever, we made this country great. Not the politicians in Philadelphia and later Washington, D.C. No, we, the people, made this great. Okay, and we can do it again. For every era, there's always a cycle of reconstruction. There's always this moment of a group of people coming together, being so tired of the status quo and of everything else going on that they just finally take matters into their own hands and do what they have to do. And as far as I'm concerned, we need to do that again. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you think I am. We need to look at the principles of peace, freedom, security, and liberty in this country, and we need to establish that within this community of the citizens of the United States of America. Now we have this big issue with immigration, or quote-unquote refugees, because they can't come to America as immigrants because the DHS and all of that won't allow it. So they classify our government really through DHS and through the Immigration Department have classified these people in Syria as refugees. That way they can just get right in. They can get right in. They do what they do. But upwards, and I've seen reports showing lower or higher, kind of average, but upwards to 60% of all of those Syrian refugees are not Syrian, and they're not refugees. They're terrorists coming into the United States of America. I don't care who you think I am. I can care less. Your preconceived ideas about me are stupid. But when you look at the information that is out there and gauge it with what is happening out there, you might want to take a second look at what you believe. Now, I don't want to, I didn't want to, rag on people in the first 20 minutes of this podcast, but we really have to get down to the truth, folks, and admit it. You don't know a damn thing. And you need to. You need to stop worshiping at the altar of the almighty dollar and start looking at the situations around you and ask yourself, what in the hell is going on? The churches have been infiltrated since 1950s. There's just so many things wrong with organized religion nowadays. There's so many pop psychology types of sermons being preached from the pulpits of the mega churches around the United States of America and probably around the world. And we just have to stop the bull crap and just say, wait a minute, who are we in all of this? And what is going to be the outcome if we continue to ignore the obvious? Okay? It just doesn't make any sense. Somebody would say to me, well, that's your opinion. I see it differently. Really? Tell me how you see it. Go ahead. Oh, and by the way, show me some facts to back up what you say. Well, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Then get the hell out of my face. I oftentimes look at people who oppose me and ask, where'd you get your information? Oh, well, it's around. It's all over the place. It's right there. Yeah, really? You sure? Show me. Yeah, show me what you're talking about. Go to the newspaper. Go to wherever you want to go. Doesn't matter to me. And show me where you get your information. I've had people literally, oh my God, it was like they worship at the church of the congregation of Snopes or something. They tell me, well, Snopes said, and Snopes did this, and Snopes is two people Googling the information. Snopes is a piece of crap website, okay? Along with several others, okay, that I'm not going to list here, but I'm sure you know who they are. Snopes is not credible, never has been credible, never will be credible. Okay? All right? I would even say they're, the Globe, the trash tabloid magazine you see in your grocery stores, they're the Globe of the internet. They have absolutely no credibility whatsoever, so stop using them. And if anybody hears this and knows them, yeah, I said it. I don't really care. Now, why am I so angry this morning? Well, I'm not really angry. I'm kind of frustrated and upset that people can't see through or see the obvious and see through all the bullcrap that they're being told. So I'm not really angry at you specifically. I'm angry at the process by which it caused you to be blind to the truth and the facts. So remember, I'm not angry at you because I understand you see things from your perspective and you have your own opinions. I applaud you on that. No, I'm angry at the process for screwing your mind and making you believe their obvious bullcrap. That's all I'm pissed off about. So anyway, folks, take my break here. I shall return. Don't go away. There's more to come right here on the American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.com. You can email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com, AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go away.
The Grand Adventure.
Yeah.
From the directorial debut of Brian James Griffo, two brothers faced with a rare genetic disease that causes blindness decide to take a journey of a lifetime and answer the question, what would you see if you knew you were going to go blind?
It honestly makes me feel so small and like whatever problems I have are nothing.
What would you do?
You're supposed to smell it first.
Who would you meet?
This is an opportunity for us to connect with people.
Oh, I can see you forever.
In a groundbreaking documentary that cuts to the heart of what it means to be a brother.
It blows my mind that 100 years ago, this is how people would have done this trip that we're doing. Yep.
And gain a world of vision while losing eyesight. Come along to be inspired and reminded of the very meaning of life through a 12,000-mile road trip. Driving Blind. Coming soon.
Coming to America.
The reality underneath the honesty. Listen to Brian Lang over at Live Truth Radio. Go to livetruthradio.com for more information. The only service of this kind, offering you fast and easy access to the very best talent from around the world. Creating your own audio doesn't have to be difficult or time-consuming. Music Radio Creative is your source for all of your audio and production needs. That's Music Radio Creative. MusicRadioCreative.com. Hey folks, how you doing? This is Wayne Pierce on American Liberty Radio Network. Right here on Spreaker, go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com for more information, if you would please. You can also email me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you want to tell me how you feel. You can email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. That's AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. I wrote this on my Facebook page. I'm going to preface it with saying this. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that feel this way. So I'm just going to say that. Okay? Because I know that people have their own perspective on things. I totally understand that. It's a given. So if you don't feel this way, let me know. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. Why are we so vehemently prejudiced? America is supposed to be tolerant of others, right? Well, that's always good to be tolerant, but when someone or a group of people are opposing you on every level, it makes it quite difficult to be tolerant of them, right? Well, first, we need to realize and accept the facts of what is happening right now with all of the immigration issues we are facing at the moment. Overwhelming the system to break down the will of the people is exactly what this regime is doing. All those Alinskyeites and followers of the strategies of Cloward and Piven are applauding right now about what is happening. And we, you and I, are just sitting back watching it happen and doing absolutely nothing to stop it. 9/11 was an inside job. Aurora, Colorado movie theater shooting was a setup. There was a drill going on a few miles away for the same type of incident. The attacks on Paris, France was a complete and utter setup by the CIA and the French intelligence services, knowing full well what was going to happen because they set it up. Current immigration and refugee issues were planned from the very beginning of this current regime. If you can't accept that, ignoring it won't make it go away. This is absolutely true, folks. Absolutely true, because you have to connect the dots. Follow the money, connect the dots. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty positive you will know that this is fact. And speaking of connecting the dots and collecting the information and following the money and finding out just how corrupt our system truly is, from the ACLJ, the American Center for Law and Justice.org, The headline reads, From Darkness to Light, 3 words of wisdom from a former Planned Parenthood clinic director. Okay. Not going to go into it. That's on I'll post it on American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook right now. Whoops. I clicked the wrong one. But anyway, it's there. Let me go over here. Let me do this. Let me go down here. Yada, yada, yada. And there we go. Shared the link on American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook. When I get back, I'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, I'll talk about and change gears and go into this from FoxNews.com. Chrome has a serious security flaw. So if you're using Google Chrome, there you go. So the bottom of the hour break is coming up. So after that, we'll talk about those 2 subjects. But I want to lead out to the break with this. Let's take into consideration. Let's just, what's the word consider mean? You know what that means? It means think or think about. So let's consider this, shall we? California is completely and utterly underwater, as well as the rest of the United States of America. I say that because I'm a former Californian. I was born and raised in Stockton, California, and I guarantee you I know California very well as far as the political and geopolitical connections they have, and also the ecumenical religious connection they have. And I guarantee you California is done. It's only California on paper. That's just the way it is. So when I look at the immigration issue with all of these quote-unquote refugees coming in, just consider this for a minute, because I have. So please consider this. When those refugees, those illegal aliens, come into your city and your town and demand that you and your city council cater to them and their religion and their ways of life, what are you going to do about it? I've considered the ramifications of what might happen if you and I, we the people, stood up against this. But the risks are far less than the greater goal of those that control the media, the military, and everything else in your state. What you do to win back, to take back, to succeed in pushing back all of these illegal aliens that are coming into your state, in your vicinity, is going to be well worth the effort, and the reward is going to be much greater than you ever imagined. Well, one, you get your state back. Okay. Now, what are we going to do as citizens of the United States of America? What are we going to do? Because I really think that it's time that we do something. Well, it's been time for the last 8 to 10 to 12 years, don't you think? But what are we going to do? When I get back from this break, I'll talk about the former Planned Parenthood director, and also what's happening with the Chrome browser. You can email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com, AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. And you can also go to the website at AmericanLibertyRadio.com. Check it out. Let me know what you think. If you want to support the network, go to my website, WayneSPierce.com. There's a GoFundMe link there. Please do, and help out the network, and we'll go from there. So I'll be back right after this. Don't go away. This is the American Liberty Radio Network.
This is the American Liberty Radio Network.
The reality underneath the honesty. Listen to Brian Lang over at Live Truth Radio. Go to livetruthradio.com for more information. What we see is not reality. It is distorted reality. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. The only choice for all your independent hits on the internet. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Go to RadioRockTheBlitz.blogspot.com.
You are being lied to. All of the state-run media propaganda is deceiving you. The script has been written and the biological androids reading those teleprompters are not telling you everything. From Fast and Furious to Jade Helm 15, the ideological slaves churn out misinformation and the general public, who are not aware enough to understand they are being lied to, eat it up. The mainstream media demonizes those that know the truth, that are said to be conspiracy theorists. They are pushing the narrative of globalization and supporting the principles of a new world order. If the voting populace of the United States of America knew exactly what was happening to them, they would band together to stop the total authoritarian takeover of their country. It is now time for everyone to see what is happening and stand up and defend themselves. It is time for all of the people to accept that they have been living a lie, they have been living a delusion, that their country, their homes, and their property will be taken from them if they do not stand and defend their liberties and freedoms.
The last thing the men behind the curtain want is a conscious, informed public capable of critical thinking, which is why a continually fraudulent zeitgeist is output via religion, the mass media, and the educational system. They seek to keep you in a distracted, naive bubble. And they are doing a damn good job of it. In 2005, an arrangement between Canada, Mexico, and the United States was made. This arrangement, unannounced to the public, unregulated by Congress, merges the United States, Mexico, and Canada into one entity, erasing all borders. It's called the North American Union, and you might want to ask yourself why you've never heard of this. In fact, there is only one mainstream reporter who has actually heard of and has had the courage to cover this issue.
The Bush administration's open borders policy and its decision to ignore the enforcement of this country's immigration laws is part of a broader agenda. President Bush signed a formal agreement that will end the United States as we know it, and he took the step without approval from either the U.S. Congress or the people of the United States.
It's a deal that few have even heard of.
It's being done again by very few people at the very top on behalf of the investment class, but the working class of people, political officials across our country, from communities, from cities and so forth, they don't know anything about this.
This isn't some trade agreement. It is a total removal of sovereignty from these countries, which will also result in a completely new currency called the Amero.
Fall. Apart from that, I think one thing people who are dollar-based need to focus on is the Amero. That's the one thing that nobody's talking about that I think is going to have a big impact on everybody's life in Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. The Amero is the proposed new currency for the North American community, which is being developed right now between Canada, the U.S., and Mexico to make a borderless community, much like the EU, and the dollar, Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar, and the Mexican peso replaced by the Amero. By
default of this agreement, the American Constitution will eventually be obsolete. You would think that a situation like this would be on the cover of every major newspaper. That is until you realize that the people who are behind this movement are the same people behind the mainstream media, and you are not told what you're not supposed to know. The North American Union is the same concept as the European Union, the African Union, and the soon-to-be Asian Union, and the same people are behind all of them. And, when the time is right, the North American Union, the European Union, the African Union, and the Asian Union will be merged together, forming the final stages of a plan these men have been working on for over 60 years. A one-world government. One bank, one army, one center of power. And if we have learned anything from history, it is that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is Aaron Russo, a filmmaker and former politician. To his left is Nicholas Rockefeller of the infamous Rockefeller banking and business dynasty. After maintaining a close friendship with Nicholas Rockefeller, Aaron eventually ended the relationship, appalled by what he had learned about the Rockefellers and their ambitions.
I got a call one day from an attorney woman I knew, and she said, "Would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers?" I said, "Sure, I'd love to." And we became friends, and he began to divulge a lot of things to me. So he said to me one night, he said that there's going to be an event there, and out of that event, you're going to see we're going to go into Afghanistan, so we can run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East, and we're going to go into Venezuela and try and get rid of Chavez. And the first two they've accomplished. Chavez they didn't accomplish. And he said you're going to see guys going into caves looking for looking for people that they're never going to find. You know, he was laughing about the fact that you have this war on terror. There's no real enemy. He's talking about how by having this war on terror, you can never win it because so it's an eternal war, and so you can always keep taking people's liberties away. And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He says, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, you know, it's just that you keep talking about things, you keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it. You know, you created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11, which is another lie. Through 9/11, you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie, and now they're going to do Iran. You know, and it's all one thing leading to another, leading to another, leading to another. Now, I would say, what are you doing this for? What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. I said, you know, you're hurting people. It's not a good thing. And he would say, what do you care about the people for? Take care of yourself and you take care of your family. And then I said to him, what are the ultimate goals here? He said, the ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the RFID chip and have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
That's right, microchipped. In 2005, Congress, under the pretense of immigration control and the so-called war on terrorism, passed the REAL ID Act, under which it is projected by May 2008, you will be required to carry around a federal identification card, which includes on it a scannable barcode with your personal information. However, this barcode is only an intermediary step before the card is equipped with a VeriChip RFID tracking module, which will use radio frequencies to track your every move on the planet. If this sounds foreign to you, please note that the RFID tracking chip is already in all new American passports. And the final step is the implanted chip, which many people have already been manipulated into accepting under different pretenses.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their body.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
In the end, everybody will be locked into a monitored control grid where every single action you perform is documented. And if you get out of line, they can just turn off your chip, for at that point in time, every single aspect of society will revolve around interactions with the chips. This is the picture that is painted for the future if you open your eyes to see it. A centralized one-world economy where everyone's moves and everyone's transactions are tracked and monitored, all rights removed. The most incredible aspect of all. These totalitarian elements will not be forced upon the people. The people will demand them. For the social manipulation of society through the generation of fear and division has completely detached humans from their sense of power and reality. A process which has been going on for centuries, if not millennia. Religion, patriotism, race, wealth, class, and every other form of arbitrary, separatist identification, thus conceit, has served to create a controlled population, utterly malleable in the hands of the few. Divide and conquer is the motto, and as long as people continue to see themselves as separate from everything else, they lend themselves to being completely enslaved. The men behind the curtain know this, and they also know that if people ever realize the truth of their relationship to nature, and the truth of their personal power, the entire manufactured zeitgeist they prey upon will collapse like a house of cards.
Hey folks, welcome back. Welcome back to the American Liberty Radio Network. Appreciate you hanging out. Go to WayneSPierce.com. There's a GoFundMe link there if you want to support the network. There you go. That's all you got to do. We have the like I have a mouse in my pocket. ACLJ, the American Center for Law and Justice, aclj.org, has an article there. From Darkness to Light, 3 words of wisdom from a former Planned Parenthood clinic director. And it was, I'm trying to find a name here, sorry. Abby Johnson, former director of the Planned Parenthood Clinic. She said Planned Parenthood gave, let me back up a second. I don't want to read the whole thing. I just want to highlight some things. The writer here says, when we first walked into the office, Abby Johnson, the former Planned Parenthood clinic director turned pro-life activist, first thing that stood out was a 2008 Employee of the Year Award, Outstanding Service and Dedication to Planned Parenthood of Houston in Southeast Texas. Then Abby pointed to a picture on the wall asking us if we knew what it was, and the picture was Margaret Sanger signing the first deed for the first Planned Parenthood clinic. Abby said, with irony intentionally permeating the room, Planned Parenthood gave that to me as a Mother's Day present. Number one, redemption is for everyone, is the first part of that. And I'll put this on American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook. 2, the business of big abortion. 3, what our end goal should be. So that is on my personal website, or my personal Facebook page, but I will share it on American Liberty Radio Network if it's not already there. If it's there, I'll just go back and delete one of them. So, American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook. Now, here's a big issue, folks. We all use different browsers, do we not? Right now I'm using, I use Opera. Okay. Seems a little more secure, so. But I also use Chrome, and I notice sometimes it lags, so no big deal, right? FoxNews.com. Chrome has a serious security flaw. This is from Kim Commando. On the Kim Commando show on YouTube, you can check that out as well. Since Google launched a Chrome browser in 2008, it's built a reputation for speed and security not found in other browsers. While the gap has narrowed in both those areas thanks to improvements to Firefox and Microsoft creating the new Edge browser for Windows 10, Chrome still has the edge in hacking contests. That's one reason hundreds of millions around the world have it installed on their computers and mobile gadgets. Unfortunately, a newly discovered security flaw might put that reputation in jeopardy. There we go. Jeopardy. There we go. Yeah, you know what I mean. A Chinese researcher discovered the flaw after 3 months of work and built a proof of concept he demonstrated at the recent Pacific Conference. Using a simple game app with a bit of extra code in it, he forced the phone to call out to a special server and load up a web page in Chrome containing malicious code. When the Chrome browser visited the web page, a flaw in the JavaScript system let the page download another app that took over the Android gadget completely. That's scary, but it gets worse. Usually, attacks that lead to a full takeover in an operating system require multiple flaws, a number of steps, and some user input to work. This attack does it in one go, which means as soon as the user installs a modified app or visits a malicious page, it's over. The way Gongs, that's the guy, Qiang Gong is the developer. The way the attack works, any app could have the code calling out to a special server with a malicious page. Apps do that all the time for ads and other uses, so it wouldn't trigger any alarms in the Google Play Store. That means slipping a malicious app through Google screening just got easier. It isn't just Chrome, though. Other researchers are now worried that any third-party app that includes Google's version of JavaScript will also be vulnerable. Of course, the same flaw exists in the desktop version of Chrome, meaning hackers might adapt it to launch attacks against PCs and Macs. Gong says he informed Google of the flaw in August, but so far there hasn't been a fix released. Fortunately, Gong hasn't released the details on the flaw, so no hackers should have it yet. Considering it took him 3 months to find, it will probably be a little while before anyone else figures it out. Still, you don't want to rely completely on that to stay safe. Here are some things to do. Here are some things you can do. Switch your mobile browser to Firefox on Android and Apple, or go back to Safari on Apple. Be careful when clicking on links you get in email or text messages. Only click if you know where it's going and you trust the person who sent it. Get a security app that warns you about phishing links and malicious app downloads. Okay? That's on Kim Komando. Go to komando.com. That's KOMANDO.com. That's from the Kim Komando show. She's a talk show. Nation's largest weekend radio talk show. Kim takes calls and dispenses advice on today's digital lifestyle, from smartphones and tablets to online privacy and data hacks. For her daily tips, free newsletters, and more, visit her website at komando.com. KOMANDO. Kim also posts breaking news 24/7 at news.komando.com. So check that out as well. She should know. She's an expert. But I've known about the flaws for a while, and here's how I knew. I don't know what they are specifically, but I will say this. When your browser begins to run slow or freezes up more than normal, it does, but not as often as you might think. But when it freezes and you can't do anything and you fix it that day, the next day it happens again, or it runs really slow and the pages come up slow, chances are chances are there's a flaw in that browser, and therefore something happened. So from the IP address on up to the code of your browser, you better have somebody check all of it out. You know, I use a Windows operated machine. I also use a Mac Mini, and on my Mac I use Opera. But I also use Safari. Safari's not too crazy about Spreaker, but I don't know why. But it works quite well. The Safari, browser works quite well. But I like the other one because some are faster than others, and you can tell that just by using them. But when it slows down or crashes more often than you care for it to, chances are there's a flaw. Chances are you've got a problem. And it's not your system, it's not your operating system, it's not your computer, it's not your hard drive, it's the browser. Somebody, as Kim Komando says, somebody can send out when you go to a website or you got these ads or whatever, here's one that I've heard about. You see the ads on Facebook, you see the ads on your website, you go to a website, you got these ads that pop up automatically, right? And the video ones start automatically, right? Unless you have all the stuff that stops all that as you get onto the web page. Some of those ads have embedded codes in there that once it pulls from wherever it's coming from, it will install crap on your computer, malware, whatever. And this is why your browser runs really, really slow, because all that stuff goes onto your hard drive, into the code, or goes in, not on the hard drive, but goes into the browser. So every time you start the browser and you go to a website, boom. Now these hackers turned hacktivists, we know who they are, can point these flaws out and help you secure it. But can anything be secure on the internet? Hell no. We know this from the federal government spying on you on everything you do online. Okay? With tracking software. How do you think a person who goes to Facebook and complains and bitches and calls out the CIA and calls out President Obama, how do you think they get picked up by the by the Secret Service? By the Secret Service. How do you think they have the police come to their door? Because people are watching them. Okay? That's just the way it is. Oh, and by the way, the new one, your smart TV, your Vizio, I believe, or the other one. A lot of them. Let's just put it out there. A lot of your smart TVs, the ones with the little cameras at the top, that you got games and all that, and the Kinect, and you got all that. It's watching you. Let me break it down even simpler for you to understand. say you turn off Facebook. Say you turn off Facebook, you close out the browser, whatever, and then you bring the browser back up later that day. Let's just say you do that. You go to your favorite shopping website, you go to Amazon, you go somewhere, you go to let's say you go to a book site, where you got your favorite books, or you see them, you can buy them. It doesn't have to be Amazon. You go onto Facebook. Have you ever noticed on the right-hand side, you get ads there that from the places you went to? How does that happen? It's because there's codes that go into those ads that are placed in your browser, and I don't know if it's in the cache or the registry, I'm not sure, but they pop up. They're there on the right-hand side of that of the Facebook page. So how are you going to stop it? How are you going to stop it? It's really, I don't know, I'm not a computer guy, but I can tell you that if you know of someone that can stop all that and have your machine run at tip-top shape, but put all that security measures in there and it won't bog it down, I would suggest you go do that. Okay? Yeah, I know it's an inconvenience for your browser to crash all the time and all this, but, it's more inconvenient when you have people stealing your identity. When they steal money out of your account. When they can hack into your system even when it's off. Oh, yeah. I've heard that. I don't know how valid that is. You might want to check that out. But I'm just saying. Everything is rigged, folks. Everything is rigged to the point where you and I are going to get screwed, blued, and tattooed all at the same time, and it doesn't really matter to them. They don't care about you, never have cared about you, never will care about you, and the only person that will is you. So the fact of the matter is we better take care of ourselves now because we have to. Okay? Our government's lying to us every step of the way. They're using their propaganda arm of the mainstream media to indoctrinate us with their bullcrap. And we just have to see through it. It's obvious, it's there, but if some of you people want to ignore it, then you go right ahead to your own detriment. You go right ahead and ignore all that. Because I can personally guarantee you, well, let me just back up and not say that. I was going to say something, but let me rephrase it and put it this way. If you continue to ignore, it is guaranteed from your perspective that you will have a bad day. Okay? Now, I'm just putting it out there, all right? Just laying it out there. It's there for you to chew on. So you go ahead and do that. In the meantime, folks, I want to remind you that you can go check out Brian Lang over at LiveTruthRadio.com. Check out his website. Go listen to his show, Live Truth Radio. Go listen to Waking Up the Masses at WakingUpTheMasses.com. He's on Truth Frequency Radio as well, TruthFrequencyRadio.com. Go check him out. Check out my friend, Mr. Nick Tucker over at Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Check him out as well. Also, if you're into independent music, independent books, independent theater, and movies, go check out Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz on Spreaker and RadioRockTheBlitz.blogspot.com. Check out all the indie hits he's playing over there. That's Mr. Tom Slick on the Morning Brew. So anyway, lots of stuff going on, folks, and I want to get out of here so I can go enjoy myself, okay? It's Friday, and we enjoy it, man. We enjoy life. It's just you wake up and you're fortunate to be alive. It's the 20th of November, 2015. This is the American Liberty Radio Network right here on Spreaker.com. You can go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com or email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. That's AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. Sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.